Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi themed video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've got a nice little highlight hover effect for you today. We've got three little blurb module boxes up here. If I hover over one of them, we've got this sort of animated highlight that comes in. That's a nice little effect to have on your site. It's really easy to do. We do have to do a bit of CSS coding for this today, but don't let that put you off. Any code I write today I'll put down below the video and you're welcome to use it. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable the visual builder so we can build on the front end. Okay, once enabled, let's go down to where we want to work. I'm going to start a new row. Well, I'll put a new section in, blue button for a section. Inside the section, I'm going to use a regular section. I'm going to put 3 columns as that's what I've got above here. I'm going to use a blurb module for this today, but pretty much any module you'd like to use is going to work with this. Divi comes as standard with all these modules here. If you've got WooCommerce installed, it'll give you an extra dozen modules also to display your wares. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to use a blurb module for this. I'm not going to have an image on mine, I'm just literally going to have the title and content. So I'm going to pop down image and icon. I'm going to drop that. There we go, we've just got the title and content now. If we go back up to the text, obviously this is where you put your title in and this is where you put your content in, and just like any other text module, you can paragraph things, make them into headings, bold, italicize, add links, do what you normally do. You can also add media if you want to, but that's the way I'm going to leave mine. Okay, well, I want to give it a bit of padding all round because when we put the highlight effect in it, I want it to have a little gap either side and also top and bottom. So let's go over to our spacing just so you can see what's going on. I'll put a quick background in here just so you can see what's happening. Let's put a crazy green or something in. You see our title and text is buffered up against the top and the sides there. I'm going to go to my design tab, give it a bit of spacing. Say give it 15 pixels all around. Just put in the 15, it'll put the pics in for you. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite side. And let's do left and right also. There we go. As you can see, it's now got a little bit of space between the outside edges and our content there. So I can take that background away. I was just putting that there to show you what was going on. Okay, if you're just doing one of these, we can leave it like that. If you're going to do 3 and you're going to have different amounts of text in, what you might want to do is go to the design and down to sizing, and you can give it actually a fixed height. If I give this maybe a fixed height, I'm guessing 1 to maybe 250 pics. Let's try that. If I put the background back in, you'll see exactly how tall that is. So give yourself enough space to put in however much content you want in. That way, if you do 3 like I've done above, they'll all be the same height here. So I think 250 is a bit much for me. Let's go back to design, sizing. Let's take it down to maybe 200. For my needs, that's probably going to work fine. So I'm going to leave that just like that, and we'll take that background away. Okay, now comes the fun part. We're going to put in our little background and have it animate in like we did with the ones above. So now we need to go over to our advanced tab. We'll go down to custom CSS. I'm going to use the before. You can use the after if you wanted to, but I'm going to use the before for this. And first thing we need to do is tell it we're going to put some content in. So I'm going to say content colon. I'm just going to put a couple of inverted commas in there to tell it that we're going to put something in there. Now I'm going to give it a width and a height. So I'm going to say width. And again, I'm guessing maybe about 320. You want to make it at least wide enough to cover what you've got going on there. I'm going to hide any overflow on that column in a minute. So if you make it over, that's not going to matter too much. So let's try, say, 320 pics. You're not going to see anything till I put width and a height and actual position for it. And height wise, I'm going to make it a bit bigger, so 250 is what we had before. That should be ample. 250 pics. And let's give it a background color. Blue. And as you can see, there's nothing there at the moment because we want to position it and give it absolute position and tell it where we want it. So I'm going to say position, absolute. As you can see, it's appeared there. Now I want it dead center with our module there. So let's make sure it's going to be dead center to cover everything the way we want, semicolon. So I'm going to say top 50%. So it's 50% down from the top, it's right in the middle there. I can say the same for the left, 50%. Now I'm going to translate it so it's perfectly central with our little blurb module here. And to do that, I'm going to use transform translate. So it's transform, colon, translate, open some round brackets. And inside the round brackets, I want it minus 50% and minus 50%, which should pull it up and cover our little module perfectly there. So let's try that. Negative 50%, comma, and negative 50%. There we go, and it's absolutely central on top of our little blurb module there. Okay, well, we've got the color, we've got the shape and position that we want it. Let's put a semicolon there. I can't really read that writing, so I'd really want it to highlight the writing. So I'm going to take the opacity or the actual see-throughness of it down so that we can read that writing better. So I'm going to say opacity. And let's try 0.3 or something like that, 0.3. 1, that's fine, 0.3, that's going to work. 1 is fully visible, 0 is invisible, and increments of 0.1, 0.2, etc. up can give you different opacity levels. Alright, now then, what we're actually going to do is when we're not hovering over it, I want to push it out of the way. So I'm going to give it a negative margin on the right of, say, 300 pix or 320 pix, whatever the width is, so it goes over to the left hand side and we can't see it. You'll still be able to see it until I turn the overflow off, but we're going to push it over there. So I'm going to say margin, left, colon. I'm going to give it, say, negative 320 pix. And that's pulled it out of the way. Give it a bit extra if you think that's still going to show a little bit. Let's make it 350 just for fun. Let's put it a bit further. But of course we don't actually want to see this over here at all. The only time we want to see it is when we hover on this and it comes back in. So let's just keep that there for a minute. We'll put our semicolon in, semicolon. We always put a semicolon after any line of code. If you forget to do that, it won't read the next line. So make sure you put your little semicolon on there. Okay, well, let's bring this back now when we hover over it. When we hover over it, we want it to sort of slide in over here. So to do that, this is common to most Divi modules. If you hover over the dark writing, you'll see some little icons appear. There they are. Go to the one you want to affect. In our case, the before here. I'm going to hit the little arrow. We've got a desktop state when your mouse is not on it. And we've got a hover state when your mouse is on it. For the hover state, I'm going to change that margin left from 350 to 0. So I'm just going to write margin dash left 0. And as you can see, that's jumped back over. So on desktop, it's way over there. When we hover over it, it's going to jump back to the top. Now the time that it actually takes to go from desktop to hover or hover to desktop with Divi, their default is 300 milliseconds, but as we're using CSS to do this, it's going to be instant. So I want to slow mine down for a bit of drama. I want to perhaps mine to take about a second. So let's go down and let's say transition dash duration colon 1s for 1 second. If you want quicker than that, you can do 0.5, 0.2 increments like that. Okay, so now the time it takes to go from hover to desktop or desktop to hover is going to be a second. Okay, well that's actually going to work fine for me. but I still don't want to see this thing when it's over here. So let's save our little blurb module here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go into the row, which is the green tab here. We've got 3 columns in our row. 1, 2, 3. We're working on column 1, so I'm going to go in there. I'm going to go over to the Advanced tab. And for visibility, for both horizontal and vertical overflow, overflow is anything that falls out of the column or overflows from the column. I'm going to change both of those to hidden. And as you can see, or as you can't see, that little blue thing's disappeared now. It's still actually over here, but because we've got overflow hidden, you can't see it. While I'm in here, I may as well do the other columns if we're going to do a similar thing in the other columns. So I'll go in column 2, Advanced, Visibility, Overflow hidden, and similar for column 3, Advanced, Visibility, Overflow, Vertical, hidden. There we go. Okay, and simply what I can do now, if we're happy with that first one, is simply clone it, drag one over. They're both identical, so it doesn't matter which one you drag over. And of course, on your blurb, you're going to want to have some custom things going on. And they have different amounts of content in them, I'm sure. This is where the fixed height thing comes in. And let's change this one out a little bit too. Put your new title in there. And let's just have slightly different amount of text in here. Like I say, I've got no real text. I'm sure you will have. So we've got slightly different amounts of text, so they're different size, but our highlight should be exactly the same height because we gave them this fixed height here. Okay, what I'm going to do is perhaps you might want to link one of your modules. Let's make sure a link's going to work where we've got that overlay going on. So if you just go down in your content in your blurb, here's your link. You can link the title if you just want the title linked to somewhere, or if you want the whole module to link to somewhere, put your link in here. I'm just going to put a hashtag in place of a link. We're on the middle one here. Always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking off-site, put it in a new tab. So let's save this. We'll save our page changes and see what we've got. Exit the Visual Builder. Okay, well there's our 3 original ones. Here's our 3 new ones with slightly different amounts of text in them. If I hover over, there's the highlight appearing. It's taking us about a second to get from left to right there. And about the same when we take off. Same for our next one, and because we've given it a fixed height, our little highlight effect is staying a common height there, which is nice. And don't forget, if you wanted to change the colors in there, just in each of these, just change that color that I've got in there. I was using a blue for the one down below. I just changed that to green and then red on this one. And of course you can use hex codes and RGBA, any colors you want. So there you go guys, there's how to add a little animated highlight effect to pretty much any of your modules. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.